After 130 hours of relatively awesome playtime, after a friggin' war, I get to make a video about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I'm writing the script on March 14th when there is a full-out missiles flying around, no internet connection, scared for my life war between Iran and America. Honestly, I don't even know if this video will ever be made, since I don't know if I'll be alive in the next months or the IRGC will have fallen or not.
I'm breathing.
I'm breathing.
You still breathing, bitch. You still breathing, bitch. I'm still alive.
Anyways, let's get back to the topic at hand. One of the best RPGs I have played in the past decade, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Cue the fucking music! Alright, the only reason this game didn't get Game of the Year was Expedition 33. Let's face it, best RPG of the year definitely belonged to KCD2. But let's forget about pointless awards. This game is magnificent even if it hadn't won any, and I'm very excited to talk about it. I already explained my history with this franchise in my previous video. Check that out if you want, no rush. When the marketing campaign for KCD2 started, I tried to stay the hell away from all of it, because I hadn't finished KCD1 at the time. But from time to time I got curious and got a glance at a few trailers here and there, but nothing too much. And I was pleasantly surprised. It seemed that Warhorse had gained two crucial things from the success of the first game. The first one is obviously money, lots of it. The second one was confidence. If KCD1 was the up-and-coming underdog, did a lot of positive things and made only a few minor mistakes because, well, it was rough around the edges and lacked the experience, KCD2 just broke down the door and entered the scene like a Chad and was like, "Sup bitches, it's your boy Big Dick Chick Gamer. Heard you like my first game. Here's the second one, you're gonna love it. Anyway, I'm off to play dice and get shit-faced. Lates." Warhorse's marketing team seemed to have been paid very well because they went friggin' nuts on this game. Again, I didn't see a lot of materials for KCD2, but my favorite one was the one with the static camera in front of Henry's face. That shit was tight. Alright, enough about trailers, this ain't a marketing class. Let's actually dive deep into the game. Audentes Fortuna Juvat. The game starts right where the first KCD ended. We get a flash forward of Castle Sukdal being sieged. Surprisingly, the character we play as here is Father Godwin, one of the best side characters in the first game, but the voice actor is different, so that's a nice change of pace. I was glad to have other playable characters other than Henry. Not that Henry of Scallis is a bad character, quite the opposite actually. Then we are introduced to one of the selling points of KCD2. The crossbow, and thank fucking god it feels great to control. The combat itself is a huge improvement over the last one. At this point I was so happy and excited for everything KCD2 had in store. The flash forward ends with Hans Capon saying that they were only supposed to deliver a letter. Then we get to the actual beginning of the game where Hans and Henry, holy fucking shit, look at Henry, he's such a giga chat now. Henry, as per the ending of the last game, is on a mission to escort Sir Hans on their way to deliver a message to Lord von Berghoff, a very powerful noble lord. They are stopped by the captain of the local garrison and inquired about the reason for being there, since the roads seem to be full of bandits nowadays. We get some dialogue options that determine the primary skills we want to invest on. This part also introduces us to the new and upgraded dialogue system. Instead of speech, charm, and intimidate, we have almost doubled the amounts of dialogue types during persuasions, plus the options related to Henry's skills, along with the hugely improved graphics. At this point I was like, holy shit, this game is going to exceed all of my expectations. Henry, Hans, and the band decide to camp up for the night and head to Trotsky Castle in the morning. But it all goes to shit when Hans, being the stupid blue-blooded dick that he is, decided to go bathing in the lake with Henry and they get attacked by bandits. Every one of the band gets slaughtered and Henry and Hans have to run away because they were literally caught with their dicks in their hands. And of course we meet the love of my life, Catherine, and no, none of you can have her. During During their escape, Henry is badly wounded when he barely survives a fall and Hans has to carry him through the woods. Here we get a really good scene of injured Henry hallucinating the events of the first game, his childhood village being razed to the ground and his parents being killed. A kind woman in the woods helps the two unfortunate souls and patches Henry up. Hans is also attacked by a bandit and barely makes it out alive and gets cut up pretty bad. The next morning we have to bury the dead body and get introduced to the cleanliness system. The cleanliness. The cleanly Man, آره حالم خوبه داشت حالت خوبه چاکرتم چه خبر. We also gotta find some herbs in the woods and learn about the new and improved alchemy system. More on that later. After all of that, Henry and Hans make their way towards Castle Trusky, where they are met by a very warm reception. Von Berghoff is not in the castle and nobody believes that these two are noble envoys. Well, Hans is, Henry is half noble. Then they are arrested after a tavern fight and have to spend some time in the pillory. They have a fight in which Henry is totally and 100% in the right, by the way. Hans started the brawl, wouldn't lift a finger to help Henry with the chores because of some stupid and retarded law about nobles not being allowed to do labor. And the bandit attack was because of his recklessness too. So yeah, I went full on gorilla on his ass. After fighting like an old grumpy couple, they both go their separate ways and Henry has to start from zero, make some money and run some errands in order to be able to attend a local wedding where von Berghoff is present so that he can deliver the message he was supposed to deliver. And that is the motherfucking prologue of the game, which took 3.5 hours to finish. After that, we are free to roam the open world and engage with the beautiful world of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I gotta say, as far as openings and prologues go, this was a fantastic one. We are introduced to all important aspects of the gameplay, including the dialogue system, the combat system, alchemy, reputation, manual fucking labor, and so much more. Also, the plot is laid down in a way that even the ones who haven't played the first game or played but forgotten about it are all made aware as to what is happening in the world. It's also where Henry is left with nothing and has to work his way up from zero to hero again. And since there is no urgency to rush to the wedding, thank God for that, I decided to take my time and do everything I could possibly do in Trusky before attending the wedding. I am happy to inform you that it took me about 40 hours to get to the wedding, the first main mission after the prologue of the game, famed to have one of the longest main quests in the past decade. If that doesn't convince you to get the game, I don't know what will. Now let's discuss what this world has in store for us. What made me entertained for 40 fucking hours before I cared to continue the main quest? The answer is a lot of things. This game has a lot of side quests, like a lot of side quests. And usually in an open world game like this one, where there are a shit ton of activities, some sacrifices and compromises have to be made. I'm looking at you, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and 90% of other open world games in the AAA market. Sometimes the voice acting is bad. Sometimes the characters make you want to gouge your eyes out and close shut your ears with candle wax. And most of the time, there's a lot of fetch quests. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to inform you that none of that AAA boring ass game design wanting you to spend money on microtransactions bullshit is present here in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I mean, about 70% of the game is comprised of dialogue, and not once did I feel like I was bored with the story or the voice acting. Except for the Nomad Leader's Daughter quest, it was a lot of go there, then go here, and then go back there again, and the girl's voice actor was really fucking annoying, and the quest itself was bullshit.
The Voivod sent me to get his letter of safe conduct.
He sent you to get his precious parchment, but he does. So you know that is the very reason why I run away from there.
You shut the fuck up, sir. You shut the fuck up.
When they nearly killed my bohush only because he...
You shut the fuck up.
But other than that, I loved every single side quest in the game. They did not have to go that crazy here. I mean, the first game had some banger side quests, but here, even the activities have their own interesting subplots. For instance, the very simple go to this town and fistfight 3 random people to make some quick bucks activities, which are present in many towns in the game, are interesting interesting too. Each person you fight has their own problems and shenanigans. Like this guy who is fighting in a pit just so he can get strong enough to defend himself against bullies. Or this barber whose wife doesn't let him fight in the pit and you gotta go talk to his wife to convince her to let her husband fight. You can bribe, intimidate, or persuade her. It's obviously that Warhorse left no stones unturned and put a lot of care and effort into every little tidbit of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And the quest structure is also very similar to KCD1. You have multiple ways to tackle every single mission depending on your playstyle or abilities. Don't want to fight a guy? Well, you can convince them that making friends is better than fighting. Don't want to pay all that money for that item? Convince the woman the item is cursed by the devil and she'll let you have it for free. Got caught for punching a chicken? Well, tell the guard that the little fucker was cussing at you, silly. The dialogue system in this game provides the player with such a grand level of freedom that if the player has met the necessary requirements, they can come out of every sticky situation successfully. And because the writing in this game is fucking hilarious, you are more inclined to choose different dialogue options to see the outcome.
A pig's face, warts all over, and a nasty smell coming from its mouth. Kinda like your mum.
My mum's dead.
So's mine.
Anything else?
Now to talk about a few of my favorite side quests. Havlena, who happens to be the daughter of the woman who helped us at the beginning of the game, has gone missing and we gotta find her. I did not expect the twists and turns of the story when I finished it. Great early game side quest. The blacksmith we work for gives us a task to find some welded steel so that he can forge a great steel sword. The only person around here who has that steel is a mysterious hermit in the dangerous forest of Apollonia. The more we learn about his past, the more we realize that he's not just a lonely hermit. There's a storyteller in Tarkov whom for the price of some booze will tell you a very nice story about a mysterious axe. Why don't you listen carefully and go do some exploring of your own? It'll be worth your while. The local miller will give you some pointless hard labor, but after a while you will do some not so legal favors for him and realize that he is some sort of scientific genius. Not a spoiler here, just a heads up. Be nice to the human who speaks your tongue. You won't be disappointed. And finally, try to find all the poachers in Trotsky. The last one will be a funny surprise. And so many other side quests that I can't fit them all in this video. Seriously, try to do as many of them as you possibly can. They are all of high quality. Now let's talk about the graphics and the visuals. KCD2 is such an improvement over KCD1 in terms of visuals. I mean, not to say that the first game was ugly, quite the contrary. It looks stunning, but KCD2 is in another league. It's obvious that it took a bit of inspiration from Red Dead 2, since both of these games are going for that beautiful realism style of visuals. I mean, at some point in KCD2 when it was early in the morning and I could almost feel that cloud and humidity from my monitor screen, I realized that I will be spending a lot of time appreciating the scenery. And of course, how can we talk about the world of KCD2 and its beauty without talking about Kuttenberg? Undoubtedly one of the best cities in a video game. I genuinely don't know if Kuttenberg's size is historically accurate. It probably isn't, but nonetheless, it is crafted with so much authenticity, so much attention to detail, and so much, what's the word I'm looking for? So much style that I was never bored when walking around the town. Like I could swear that I felt my shoes getting muddy when walking around Kuttenberg in the rain, even though that's physically impossible and, let's face it, kinda stupid and schizophrenic to say. Like I thought Ratai in KCD1 was a nice city. Boy, Ratai ain't got shit on Kuttenberg. So yeah, in the department of graphics and visual beauty, this game fucks. It definitely fucks. And the performance is really good too. I literally had no stutters or frame drops throughout my almost 130 hours of playtime. But don't take my word for it. My 4070 is supposed to perform like that since I paid for it with my kidney! Now it's time to talk about exploration. Unfortunately, the style of exploration in this game is not that different from KCD1. There's almost no reason to go on a wrong path with the hope of finding something worthwhile. Don't get me wrong, there are the occasional abandoned huts and ruins with some nice loot here and there, but nothing that ever motivated me to treat this game as an exploration-focused game. As I mentioned in my previous video about KCD1, there are two types of open world design. Exploration focused like Skyrim as a good one and Oblivion as a bad one, and questing focused like Witcher 3 as a good one and again Oblivion as a bad one. I know Oblivion has a huge fan base, but I really don't fuck with that game. KCD2 is, in my opinion, better played through questing and not pure exploring. It's more enjoyable that way. There is one thing that KCD2 does a lot better than the first game. When you talk with innkeepers or bailiffs or random people, they usually give you useful information about interesting places around them. Someone might express his worries about some gravediggers down south, and another person is scared of the nearby bandit camp. Then you get a notification which tells you that the grave digging spot and the bandit camp are highlighted on your map now. I like this system. It provides a very authentic sense of exploration that is lacking in many games. It's not like The Witcher 3 where the map is polluted by question marks and you never know what to expect in any of them. At least in KCD2, you get that mark on your map because you asked for it from someone and you know what to expect. I still believe a game like Skyrim does it best, or maybe Outer Wilds. You go and explore, you find something interesting, and you decide whether you want to engage with that piece of content or not. But as I said, KCD2 is more of a questing type of game, and as I said, the quests here are awesome, so there's nothing wrong with a normal exploration system. I just really wished for that extra essence of exploration. Maybe some more random encounters. I mean, not more, the random encounters while fast traveling or just plain old traveling are really good too. Far better than KCD1. The highlights were this guy who wants a lot of money from you, and if you pass the speak check, you realize that he's a noble who is escaping from prison. Also, there are a lot of camps you meet on the way, and every one of them have interesting little stories and characters. And my favorite encounter, this old woman whom I appropriately met in the middle of the night. She has some seriously creepy dialogue, and she even knew my name and everything that happened to me in my life. Well, in Henry's life, I mean. Yeah, she was definitely the Grim Reaper. I don't know if there were more times you could meet her, because I only met her once, but still, really cool random event. But the problem with all these events was that they are all on main roads. Therefore, you have no reason to go off the beaten path to find interesting things. Actually, the world is filled with a lot of big empty spaces in between many uninteresting sites and some important places like villages and towns. I wish there were more dungeon-like places and more unmarked quests that we had to find ourselves, but alas, we can't expect an open world to have everything we want. Now it's time to talk about my most anticipated aspect of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, the combat system. I had a lot of expectations from Warhorse to fix and improve the combat, because if KCD1 had only one thing going for it in terms of combat, that was potential. They were obviously doing something new, something that had been rarely done before. In my opinion, they mostly succeeded. The combat had a lot of positives, but many huge and annoying negatives. Master strikes were based on stats and random chance. Enemies swarmed you all the time and they got too close and personal, as if they wanted to French kiss you, and it was almost impossible to do most combos late game. If you want to hear me yap about KCD1, just watch this video. Well, I am happy to inform you that KCD2 is in a lot of ways much better than the previous game. First of all animations have been revamped and don't feel like controlling a marionette with Down syndrome. Instead of 5 attacking sides plus thrust, we got only 3 plus the thrust, which is much simpler and much better to control and utilize. Now, figuring out the enemy's stance is actually a sensible strategy. We got more weapon types, more combos that actually work, actual killing animations, a completely revamped perfect block and master strike system, better range combat, and so much more. Let's talk about these aspects in detail. The animations and the feeling of impact when swords clash is so much better here. In the first game, when you hit an enemy, the sound response is similar to a baby gently slapping a pillow. But in KCD2, not only are the attack and defense animations better, but also the sound design is much more satisfying. Moreover, when I realized that instead of 6 directional attacks, we got 4, at first I thought that Warhorse wanted to go with a more streamlined, casual player friendly kind of combat, and I was rightfully scared. Thankfully, I soon came to realize that this decision does nothing but improve the combat. Now that we have only 4 directions, it's much easier to execute and, more importantly, memorize combos. Even though I still think there is a little bit of output delay here, as I found it sort of difficult to do some combos, especially this longsword combo, which is 3 right strikes and 1 left. Out of every 10 times I tried to do this combo, combo, I only succeeded twice. If somebody has more information about how to do these inputs, please let me know. I appreciate your insight. The blocking and perfect block system are much better too. First of all, there is no slow motion when you do a perfect block. Not that I had anything against the slow motion, it's just that because of the way perfect block is included in KCD2, if there was slow motion, it would have killed the pacing of the game. Secondly, perfect block has nothing to do with the Master Strike. Thank fucking God for that. Thirdly, if you attack in the direction where the enemy is defending, the chance of getting perfect blocked is much higher. And finally, because of the way perfect block is now, KCD2 has the ability to create some badass, realistic and fun battle encounters in the history of gaming. After you perfect block, you have a chance to riposte. But then, depending on the direction, the enemy has also a good chance to perfect block and riposte. And you also can perfect block enemies riposte, and this chain of attack and block can go on until someone runs low on stamina and gets hit. It doesn't matter how many times I've done this sequence, it has never gotten old. At some point in the game, I decided to mess with the poleaxe because I had found the Brunswick set and I wanted to try something other than the longsword. I heard somewhere that the poleaxe is the weakest weapon in the game, but I have to disagree, even though it only has 4 combos, and for the life of me I couldn't find the 4th one. Where the fuck is the 4th one, Warhorse? Why are you hiding it from me? The poleaxe, at least in my experience, is kinda busted. The perks give you more thrust damage and prevent you from getting Master Striked all the time, and executing enemies with this combo never gets old. Long live the poleaxe. The only gripes I have with this weapon is obviously the lack of variety in terms of combos, and also the fact that I could not find better poleaxes later on in the game. Throughout my playthrough, I only used the Brunswick poleaxe, and then in the late game, I found one halberd that had better stats. Just one. Come on, Warhorse, give me more poleaxes. And also, you can't Master Strike with the poleaxe. I understand that if you could, the weapon would have been overpowered as fuck, so I'm not that mad. Speaking of Master Strikes, ladies and gents, I am happy to tell you that the Master Strike system in KCD2 is far better than the first game. At a superficial level, all the animations are improved, and if you manage to kill someone with a Master Strike, you get a neat kill animation. You know me, I'm a sucker for death animations. Please, games, always include death animations in combat. Please. Moreover, the way you can execute a Master Strike is not based on chance anymore. Firstly, you gotta know from which direction a hit is coming towards you. Secondly, you gotta position your weapon in the opposite direction of the attack. For instance, if the attack is coming from your right, put the weapon on your left. Finally, when the enemy attacks, press the attack button instead of block, and voila, you executed a Master Strike. This system is much better for many reasons. For example, you actually have to pay attention to the enemy since they usually change directions before attacking in order to confuse you. And also they can Master Strike you if you attack from their opposite direction. So you have to do some actual decision making here. If your attack and their defense are on the same direction, there is a higher chance for a perfect block. Therefore, it's essential to be careful where you attack from and also to feint attacks or switch up to downward slash from above or thrust attacks. Oh, and I completely forgot. The game doesn't teach you this, but you can feint attacks too. Simply hold the attack button and change the direction of the attack at the last second and then release the button. This way the chance of the enemy reacting appropriately to your hit is massively reduced. As I mentioned before and also in the previous video about KCD1, one of the biggest and most annoying aspects of KCD1's combat, which was a deal breaker for me, was when you had to fight more than 2 or 3 enemies and how they swarmed you into your personal space as if they wanted to get some smooches. Thank fucking God that is fixed in KCD2. Even if you are surrounded by 5 enemies, they don't fucking try to kiss you from the backside. They simply try to surround you, and if you are too occupied by one enemy and one of them manages to get behind you, yeah, you'll get hit. So it's really important to space yourself correctly in order to at least see everyone. It's not like bad action movies where goons patiently wait their turn to attack you, but it's not as bad as KCD1 where they run to you from behind and even clip through your character model. It's the perfect balance. I remember one of the biggest criticisms of KCD1's combat was how it was only meant for duels. Well, now this time around the combat of KCD2 is great for duels and pretty good in team fights. And it's not just the melee combat that is better. Range combat is also a lot better too, since Henry is no longer a useless village peasant. His hands don't shake as much when holding a bow, and thanks to the new and improved aiming system, which is appropriately called put the fucking bow close to your fucking crosshairs so I know where I am fucking shooting, it is much easier now to hit targets. I never gave that much of a chance to KCD1's bows because they felt weird to use, but the longbow in KCD2 and occasionally the crossbow were my secondary weapons throughout the playthrough. The crossbows are fine too, but their higher damage doesn't rectify their slow ass reloading animations. So I mostly stuck with the longbow. And I know you are waiting for me to talk about the gun. Unfortunately, I didn't like them that much because of their slow reload and inaccuracy. Long live longbow supremacy. Now to talk about the worst negative aspect of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2's combat. Drum rolls please. The worst aspect, and I mean it, is the fact that there isn't enough of it. As I said, most of the game, about 70% of it, is dialogue and other stupid and fun peaceful activities. Since the writing and quests are awesome, that's not a problem per se. But according to one of my favorite YouTubers, Nikki Jakey, there is this mental condition among gamers called goopy goblin gamer brain. This phenomena compels the gamer to do the simpler and more fun activities in games like shooting people, killing stuff, and blowing up things. You know, all of those Call of Duty-esque aspects of games that are designed solely for being fun and creating dopamine. Goopy Goblin Gamer Brain does not cope well with games that are filled with boring activities and retarded quests with bad writing. Like every time I did a side quest in Horizon Zero Dawn, I could almost hear Goopy Goblin Gamer Brain screaming at the back of my head, begging me to shift delete that stupid ass game. Fortunately, my GGGB is not that severe. I mean, I am someone who never skips cutscenes and reads every little piece of text in the game to learn more about the lore. But in my 130 hours of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I felt a lack of enough battle encounters. In the late game, I would read the dialogues faster so I could skip them in the hopes of doing some fighting soon. I don't like doing that in games, but I was forced by my GGGB. I guess it's a backhanded compliment to say that KCD2 does not utilize its awesome combat enough. I guess it doesn't matter how great your writing is, you need to balance storytelling and active gameplay in order to have good pacing. Just give me stuff to kill, game, and no, I'm not crazy, you're crazy. Alrighty, time to discuss other aspects of gameplay. Leveling, perks, skills, crafting, loot, horses, stealth, realism stuff, the economy, and the gameplay loop. KCD2 is a damn good RPG. No wonder people were mad this game was robbed out of the best RPG of the year in 2025. Look, I love Expedition 33 as much as the next guy, but that game doesn't hold a candle against KCD2 in terms of RPG mechanics and player choice. Similar to the first game, there are many skills including combat ones, alchemy, craftsmanship, horse riding, etc. And all of them are upgraded through repetition of those actions and skill trainers throughout the game. Each skill has its own perk tree and they range from simple vertical progression perks like 10% more thrust damage and such, all the way to interesting perks that increase potion making abilities between 12 and 4 AM. I wouldn't say that the perks are in Cyberpunk 2077 after the 2.0 update level, but they're fine. They are great at conveying the feeling of character progression little by little. Horse riding is different than in KCD1, and it took some time for me to get used to it. Don't expect horses to be as fast as Albarak in KCD1. Undoubtedly the fastest horse in gaming, period. Fucking Ninja H2R horse. The Houndmaster skill is also better here, since Mutt the dog has a more colorful role in KCD2. Stealth is really busted, by the way. I mean, I never gave stealth a try in KCD1, but with enough practice and skill, you can easily clear out bandit camps while undetected. And now time to talk about my favorite pastime activities in the game. Alchemy and blacksmithing. Even though there was a full-on potion making minigame in the first game too, I never cared enough to engage with it. But in this game, wow, I spend an unhealthy amount of time making potions, especially when my alchemy was strong enough that I could make 6 Henry level potions with every batch. I really want to explain why I was so hooked on potion making, I really do. But the only thing I can say is that it was fun. I know, I'm a YouTuber and I have to talk about every little thing with excruciating detail to increase the runtime of the video. But all I have to say is that there was some sort of soothing, mind-clearing, and peaceful sense I got from making potions. It is like cooking in real life. how a minor mistake can cost the quality of the potion, and how you gotta do the full recipe carefully. And Henry level potions are busted as hell and make the game so much easier. I don't know what more to say, I just really like alchemy, that's all. And blacksmithing is kinda the same too. The realism involved helps create a very nice and refreshing minigame. The way Henry whistles so you can keep up the rhythm when hammering a sword, the way sparks fly when you hammer the right spot, the way this hunk of metal is turned into something else, something better the more you work on it, I just love it. And the feeling you get when you craft a high quality sword and then you have to sharpen it, it's just fun, man. I spent an ungodly number of hours on both smithing and alchemy, and I don't regret a second of it. Moreover, the game is filled with realistic elements, like hunger, sleep, reading, alcoholism, gambling, etc. I usually don't care that much about immersion or doing activities and minigames to mimic real life, but in KCD2 I kinda drowned in these activities. Speaking of minigames, Farkle the Dice game is my second minigame inside an actual video game. The first one is obviously Gwent. I just can't seem to get lucky with dices, whether in games or in real life. Gambling is just not for me, man. To wrap this video up, I want to talk about the biggest problem with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And unfortunately, it is the same problem I had with the first game, and that is the economy and the gameplay loop, which gets busted open pretty soon because it's really easy to get overpowered. Similar to KCD1, in the middle of Act 2, my Henry was a god at combat skills, could make Henry level potions and weapons with ease, could pass almost all dialogue skill checks like the gaslighting god of mischief that he is, and wore the best armor and weapons in the game. My Henry was practically an untouchable god. It's not like I cheated or cheesed my way through the game. I just did almost everything the game threw my way, and after leveling up, I would take all of the gear I claimed / stole and painstakingly sold them to all the different merchants in Kuttenberg. I fucking hated having to visit every single merchant one by one, since they all had between 600 to 1600 groschen and couldn't buy all of my loot. But I guess realism. In short, I just wanted the game to put up a better fight and provide a better challenge in the late game, cause honestly, I was ready to check out when I got close to the ending. From that point, every quest I did was because of either my completionist attitude or because I just wanted to experience the story. In the gameplay department, there was nothing I looked forward to. There is a reason I put this big negative at the end of my video. First of all, it was my personal experience, and it might not be like that for you. Maybe I was a little overzealous with my money, with all that haggling and hoarding. And second of all, this game is so awesome that I didn't want to discourage you all from giving it a shot. Okay, that about wraps it up. Thank you for watching till the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that jazz. I was never good at goodbyes, so